All right, and I think we're ready to go and rock and roll. One of the very worst, if not the worst, psyop and brainwashing, and thereby intangible time and energy vampires of the world, in the world rather, is the news media and the news cycle. Think about something. And this is something that I've noticed lately, because lately I've been out traveling a lot. I've been out traveling internationally, domestically, and this is just a trend that I'm noticing. And after I'm noticing this trend, it's kind of like you can't unsee it, right? You know what I mean? It's just like in the Matrix, in the movie. You swallow the red pill, and boom, you just can't unsee what you've seen. So the red pill, for lack of a better term, I actually don't like using the term red pill because it's been hijacked by a group of insecure men who can't get laid and who are angry and anxious and worried and who secretly cry and hand-hold their dicks instead of actually going out there and talking to girls. But that's a different subject for a different time. Maybe I'll go there as well. Who knows? But anyway, the news cycle, or the way that the news media is being thrown in your face, you can't unsee it and you can't deny it either. Because wherever you go, there seems to be one or two or three or four large screens which throw the news media or the news right in your face. At the airport, when you're waiting at the conveyor belt to pick up your luggage. And of course, at the airport, when you're in some sort of a lounge or you're waiting for your plane to arrive, or you're waiting by the gate, ready to board your plane. Even if you're watching a football game at the sports bar, and I know this because I used to watch football way back in the day, and it doesn't really matter whether we talk about soccer or football in the American sense. Because in this respect, they're all the same. You watch the game, and there are these tiny slivers, at the bottom of the screen, right? With all the news. Whether it is war or politics or climate change or whatever garbage it is. Just to make you nervous and anxious and worried. And of course, to steal your energy and or time. At the train, when you're riding the train and you're facing forward, instead of looking out through the window when you're facing forward, you're usually looking right at a screen, at a news screen, with all sorts of nonsense going on, right? You just can't unsee it. At the shopping mall, when you're gonna go shopping, there's always one or two big screens with the news media. And of course, social media as well. Social media, it's pretty funny because social media used to be this, shall we say, free playground that people use to share pictures and videos of their lives and so on. I just found it dumb, so I didn't participate. But then gradually something happened. And no, I'm not going to go deep into the woods as of why and how and when that happened, because that's really not up to me. But something happened, and it coincided mysteriously around the time when Trump first got elected as president. And no, I'm not going to go deep down a rabbit hole of political conspiracy theories and so on. But something happened where all of a sudden the social media got weaponized politically. And now you have all of these accounts who talk about politics and garbage all the time. Notice how they're writing breaking. For those who can't see, I put breaking in air quotes. Breaking news. This is happening. Trump said this. The stock market is going down. Climate change is worse than we thought. The war in Ukraine is escalating. Everything is going to hell in a handbasket. We're all about to die. That's how it is. Hopefully nobody heard me screaming. Well, maybe if they did, they can have a laugh. But I mean, that's essentially how it is. That's how they're stealing your energy. That's how they're stealing your time, because they want you to look at their dumbass screens and be anxious, worried, upset. I said worried, afraid, afraid and scared. I'm keeping repeating myself, but you know what I mean. That's what they want. They want you to get addicted to their nonsense and garbage. And you know why? Not so they necessarily can present their solution, although I believe some of them have a solution. They have an agenda, because some of them conveniently leave out truths. Some of them conveniently leave out things. I keep losing my voice here because I'm getting so excited. But some of them keep leaving out stuff that would otherwise contradict their opinions or their viewpoints, which means they clearly have an agenda. Now, once again, I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of speculation and what their agenda is. That's for other political newscasts, podcasts, and so on. But I am going to say this. They do focus on all the negative stuff all the time because people don't want to hear anything positive. Because if they're only talking about positive stuff, people will tune out. They're not going to get addicted. But if they talk about the negative stuff all the time, people are going to get anxious, worried, and upset, and so on. And they want to revert back and watch if there are any solutions to this pressing issue, which there clearly isn't. I mean, the solution is twofold. It's either an agenda to make you hook to some political direction, which is so obvious now. I mean, you just can't deny the very fact. Or it is consuming the garbage advertisements that the manufacturers and advertising bureaus pay for to have run on the news media and on news channels, so that you can buy their crap. That's what they want. Health products and all that kind of nonsense. Notice how they're always advertising either for some health pills or products or some supplements or gambling, or a credit card loan, or even a car loan, maybe sometimes house loans, or some lottery, or unhealthy junk foods. Think about that. It's always the bad stuff. Either through gambling away your money, taking up a loan you don't need, taking a health supplement you surely don't need, and also eating junk food that's unhealthy. Think about it. It makes perfect sense. They all want to destroy you. They don't want you to be happy and healthy, drinking water and eating meat. All right. This rant has gone off for long enough, and I'm about to lose my voice, so I'm going to cut it here. But the news media is a perfect example of an intangible, non-human time and energy vampire, a so-called TEV. And if you want to learn more about TEVs, both intangible and tangible, that is, both non-human and human TEVs, time and energy vampires, then get subscribed to my email list. The link to do so is below the episode description, wherever you're watching and or listening to this. Thank you, and I'll see you later.